Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call our roll. Dr. O'Neill. Present. Mr. Heater.
Present.
Mr. Barnes-Griffin.
Present.
Dr. Washburn.
Here.
And Mr. Irvin. Mr. Lowe is out of town this evening. At this point, we'll turn to Dr. Reynolds for his CEO report.
Sure, great, thank you. Just wanted to start off by talking about the football game last Friday and the opening of the new facility there on the north end zone. Just a tremendous event. Probably the largest crowd that I have seen at a home Central football game in a long time, and I want to say that everyone was just terrific, impressed with the facilities, super proud to have it, and again, just a wonderful evening to celebrate the accomplishments and the progress we're making in the Muncie Community Schools, but then also a facility that our kids in our community deserves. Outcome of the ball game wasn't quite where we wanted, but it's still a wonderful evening. That evening, we also, Dr. Bell put together a reception for our alumni teachers from a Muncie high school that work either as a teacher or administrator in our district. So we were able to recognize folks before the game and during halftime, had a wonderful reception out in front of the new space, and just a great opportunity to thank those folks that have decided to go into the educational field and then stay and serve in Muncie is just tremendous. One other piece of that day, the football game day, was Mrs. White, and she started a Path to Purple across all of our elementary schools, where they have organized T-shirts, and all paths from all schools lead to Central, and that's the Path to Purple, and that was her first Path to Purple day. So if you notice some of those heather purple shirts that had the Bearcat in the center and all the elementary logos all the way around, I was out in the buildings that Friday, and you saw those in all the elementary buildings. It was really neat to see. So again, another way just to remind folks that we're all heading to Central and to celebrate where you are. Tomorrow we have a motivational speaker coming to the middle schools. Brandon McCall's coming to speak to the student bodies at the middle schools. He's a motivational speaker that addresses tough topics like social media, leadership, bullying, those types of things. He's a nationally recognized speaker that Meridian Health Services is partnering with us to bring in to do a series with our kids and then in our community. So just again, thank Meridian for supporting us and providing that speaker to us. September 20th is our Academic Innovation Summit. That is quickly approaching. That is one of those feathers in our cap in the Muncie District that we are able to provide a national level type of conference for all of our teachers and staff and administrators. Our keynote speaker is Ross Green this year. He wrote the book, among others, Lost at School. It talks about student discipline and supporting kids with high needs. Have 75 breakout sessions, I think, scheduled already for our folks to choose from. Again, just a unique opportunity. Other districts have days of PD. I don't know that any of them have the ability to do that, and that's supported with local grants and like the Ball Brothers Foundation and some of our federal grants. After the game, or after the summit, is homecoming. So that's going to be the 20th. I'm sure Cindy will be reaching out to see who wants to participate in that, but it'll be a terrific parade beforehand that starts at 4 and then into the game that evening. I anticipate another crowd, another time to show off our wonderful facility. this time of year is a time where everything is starting to kick in as far as athletics go. If you've not taken time to get out to see an athletic or an extracurricular activity, please do so. It's just wonderful and to see all the kids working hard and out there competing on whether it's an athletic field or a robotics field or whatever it may be. It's terrific to see our kids outside, out of the classroom, being successful. And lastly, probably the most important thing for our kids is no school on Monday. We'll be closed Monday for an observation of Labor Day. I think that's it.
Any questions for Dr. Reynolds? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the consent agenda. It's my understanding there are no public comments. You have the consent agenda and materials in your packet. Any questions concerning anything in the consent agenda? If not, would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Hear a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
I hear a second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we'll show those approved. Financial report. Mr. Jerome.
Thank you. Included in your board packet is our financial notes and financial update for the July actual results. We just obviously have just a few more months to go in the end of the calendar year. Obviously, you just got a big dose of budgeting and finance at our last meeting when we did the permission to advertise and with the budget, but this is the update for the month of June. It's always good to report. We still received our $3.9 million of state basic grants, still projecting a little over $47 million for this year. Obviously, that can be changed in the last quarter of this year on the funding because of our head count with the enrollment, student enrollment. Student enrollment, we're still pretty consistent so far with where we were last year in October, just a little over 4,951. We still expect that to trend in that particular direction, so not really having a decline. So that's still good to report. So those revenue numbers could still change a bit, perhaps by the end of this year. Still reporting a cash balance over $31 million, the total checkbook balance at the end of July, still projecting more than $30 million at the end of this particular calendar year as well. Our state loan, we have that down to $8.8 million because that's we've now paid $3.1 million on that loan over the last 4 years. That's $180,000 a month is what that is now. We're in the last 6 months, so the property taxes still projecting to receive perhaps just under $12 million for this particular calendar year. Just some of the additional reports I always provide there. Item number 3 there, page number 3, that just details the bulk of the funds, a little over $31 million in the total checkbook. Just really running really strong there on the self-insurance fund. That's something that, if you remember, the bulk of those funds were held with the Unified Group, and then in January of 2024, that was moved back to our books. So that's been running really strong this year. The next two items, number 4 and 5, page number 4 and 5, just shows the trend of your overall checkbook balance of all funds. That's in blue. And the little red chart just shows the loan continuing to be paid off. That fund number 5, or the graph number 5, just shows if you subtract out the loan proceeds, where you can see where that's trended over the last 5 years or so. So that really, those are really some of the main highlights. We're still trending the correct direction. In the fourth quarter, we will ask for some additional appropriation as we look in the fourth quarter of spending, but that's pretty much planned what we had to do. But that really kind of concludes my report for this month.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Durrell?
Can you just remind me what, on page 3, what the self-insurance, like, can you share a little bit more?
Sure. The self-insurance balance, that kind of backs up your medical claims and expenses. So I guess the origin of that would have been, normally that was always held with the Unified Group, and then we switched insurance carriers in January to Anthem. So, and perhaps some of that was always held on their books to pay claims in past history, but then once we switched to Anthem, it's like, well, you can handle your own money now. And that's typically what you, truly, if you're usually a self-insurance funded district, which we are, which means we offset the liability for any high claims to another carrier or another stop-loss carrier. So if your self-insurance balance is growing, that means you've been able to put more revenue into that fund because of health insurance premiums than what is going out in terms of your expenses. So that is a good thing if it grows. So we'll address all those again when we get to the later in the fourth quarter as we look at our renewal for 2025 for the medical insurance. But right now, that still looks really well.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Entertain a motion for approval of the financial reports.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Mr. Jerome, we will now turn to the 2025 budget hearing.
Right, thank you. At the last meeting, we did the permission to advertise where we did our budget presentation. Where we come along the timeline tonight is what's called the public hearing. And this is just where we give the public any opportunity to comment about the 2025 budget that has been advertised. The budget adoption meeting for the school board will be at our regularly scheduled September 10th meeting. No board action is required tonight other than just conducting the public hearing. Just a few items just to summarize again for those in the audience as well as for the school board. The debt service fund was advertised with appropriations of $11,459,000 of spending. The education fund appropriation was advertised a little over $44,074,000. There's the Form 3 right there on the board. The operation fund was advertised for $11,653,000, and the rainy day fund was advertised for $3,200,000. And we expect the levy that's advertised high to be cut by the Department of Local Government Finance. So that's a brief summary of your budget that we presented 2 weeks ago.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jerome. For the benefit of those here this evening, we will open the public hearing on the 2025 budget, and we will invite public comment on that budget as presented 2 weeks ago and summarized again this evening. Does anyone here wish to be heard on the budget, the 2025 MCS budget? Any questions regarding the 2025 MCS budget? We'll ask one final time. Any of the assembled members of the public have any comment or questions regarding the 2025 budget? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing on the 2025 budget.
So moved.
Been moved?
Second.
Been seconded. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Jerome, for your work as usual on the school budget. Very much appreciated. I don't have any dialogue that we haven't previously dialogued about, nor do I have any further recommendations this evening. Does anybody else have anything at all? I do not believe we have any media queries this evening. Welcome to 2024 in America. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
I hear a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. I've looked over all night at Mark Irvin trying to test my skill at getting a second out of him. Not once. He wasn't biting. All those in favor of adjournment, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We'll stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Get your note.
We'll see you.
Wow.